Amid the fog-shrouded moors of Yorkshire in 1425, where the wind howled like forgotten laments, a miner named Geoffrey gripped his pickaxe, chipping away at the unyielding rock face of an abandoned shaft. Sweat beaded on his brow despite the chill. He wasn't just digging for coal to warm his humble cottage. He was chasing rumors of hidden silver veins, a desperate bid to lift his family from poverty's grip. But as his tool struck a hollow vein, the ground trembled and a cascade of stones rained down, plunging him into a yawning abyss below. Tumbling through darkness, his lantern shattering against jagged walls, Geoffrey crashed onto a damp cavern floor, pain exploding in his leg. Alone, buried alive, he clawed at the debris, his cries echoing unanswered, the start of a harrowing odyssey against forces that dwelled where light feared to tread. Have you ever stared into an endless void, wondering if something stares back? That primal unease, the spark that ignites our deepest fears, is what drew Geoffrey deeper, not just into the earth, but into a realm of unrest. In medieval England, tales abounded of spirits trapped in purgatory, decaying souls begging the living for release, much like those chronicled in the Byland Abbey ghost stories, where apparitions roamed Yorkshire's wilds, seeking prayers or proper burial. Geoffrey, a devout man raised on Abbey sermons, clutched his simple wooden cross, whispering a plea to saints as he limped forward, driven by that unyielding urge to survive for his wife and young son waiting above. The cave twisted like intestines, air thick with mildew and the faint rot of something ancient. Geoffrey's boots splashed into a puddle, and from the shadows came a low moan, not wind, but a voice, ragged and pleading. His heart hammered, ignore it or investigate? Curiosity, that relentless tug, won out. He fashioned a torch from scraps of cloth and flint, its flame revealing a narrow tunnel etched with crude crosses, as if previous intruders had marked warnings. Pressing on, the moans grew into words. Help, release us. The first conflict erupted. A spectral figure materialized, a ghost of a long-dead monk, flesh hanging in tatters from bones, eyes glowing like embers in a forge. I sinned in life, it rasped, reaching with skeletal fingers crusted in earth, mirroring descriptions from medieval folklore where ghosts appeared as gruesome corpses demanding aid. Geoffrey recoiled, swinging his pickaxe, but it passed through the apparition like mist. The ghost's touch grazed his arm, a burning cold that sapped his strength, forcing him to flee deeper, the spirit's wails pursuing him like hounds. Panting, Geoffrey stumbled into a larger chamber, walls glistening with seepage, the air humming with unseen energy. He tore a strip from his tunic to bind his wounded leg, but the escape had sealed his path back. Rocks blocked the way. Desperation mounted. He remembered tales from the village elders about Malleus Maleficarum-inspired remedies, though the book itself was yet to be penned, drawing from older herbal lore, like vervain to ward off evil. In his pouch, he carried dried rue, a protective herb gathered from the moors, said to repel unholy presences. Burning a pinch on his torch, the acrid smoke filled the space, buying respite. But the alliance in peril began. Faint cries echoed from side tunnels, screams of haunted souls, children and adults alike, trapped in this underground limbo. One voice pierced sharpest, a woman's sob calling for her lost babe. Geoffrey's mind flashed to his own family, that bond fueling his resolve to press on, seeking an exit amid the labyrinth. The cave's depths revealed horrors layered like onion skins. Geoffrey navigated narrow ledges over bottomless pits, the herb smoke trailing him like a shield. But the second twist struck without mercy, a sudden rumble, not from above, but from below, as if the earth convulsed. Water surged from cracks, a subterranean flood turning passages into rivers, thunderous roars mimicking storms in the open air. Clinging to an outcrop, Geoffrey spotted shadows detaching from walls. Literal shadows, writhing like eels, embodiments of the ghost's rage. One coiled around his ankle, pulling him toward the rising torrent, its grip icy and draining, whispers hissing sins he hadn't committed. Join us in the depths, they murmured, evoking medieval beliefs where spirits deceived to drag souls into purgatory. He smashed his cross against it, the wood splintering but repelling the shadow with a screech. The flood forced him upward through a fissure, scrambling on hands and knees, water nipping at his heels, until he emerged into a forgotten crypt beneath the moors, an ancient temple ruin, perhaps a pre-Christian burial site absorbed by the abbey's lands.
Here, the air pulsed with malice, flickering torchlight illuminated altars cracked by time, surrounded by niches holding skeletal remains. The unveiling of secrets hit. Among the bones, Geoffrey found a rusted vial, holy water perhaps left by a long-ago priest, and a string of rosary beads tangled in dust. But peace was fleeting. The third conflict ignited as screams crescendoed, a chorus of cries for help swelling into a cacophony. Haunted souls materialized en masse, ghosts of men in tattered robes, women with hollow cheeks, teenagers frozen in eternal youth, all decaying, earth-cloaked like the apparition of Guinevere's mother in Arthurian tales, crusted over with earth and tormented by their unrest. They swarmed, not attacking outright, but pleading, their touches weakening him, draining life to fuel their manifestations. "Bury us properly," one wailed, a former priest whose sins had bound him here. Geoffrey, vision blurring, recited prayers from memory, sprinkling the holy water which hissed on contact, dispersing a few but enraging the rest. Exhaustion clawed at him, but survival's spark flickered. He spotted a faint glow, daylight seeping through a distant crack. Crawling toward it, the spirits pursued, their forms merging into darker shadows. He burst through the opening onto the moor, collapsing in the rain-soaked grass, the cave mouth a maw behind him. Villagers found him at dawn, delirious, babbling of underground terrors. Word reached Byland Abbey, where Bishop Olden, a wise overseer sent to quell local unrest, gathered a response. Flanked by Father Ronan, a sturdy priest with a voice like gravel, Sister Ilara, a compassionate nun skilled in herb lore, and a group of brave teenagers from the nearby hamlet, eager lads like young Will seeking to prove their mettle. They armed themselves for a descent. As they rappelled into the shaft, torches casting elongated shadows that danced mockingly. The flood had receded, leaving slick paths, but the moans returned, guiding them to the crypt. Tension built in waves, whispers turning to growls, air growing frigid. The first underground assault came swift. A shadow lunged at Will, the teenager screaming as it wrapped around his throat. Father Ronan splashed holy water, the entity shrieking, retreat. Deeper, the ghosts appeared, their pleas turning aggressive, circling the group like wolves. Sister Ilara ignited herbs in a censer, smoke forming a barrier, but the spirits tested it, probing for weaknesses. In the temple chamber, the climax unfolded, a life or death maelstrom. The central spirit coalesced, a massive ghost of a fallen bishop, corrupted in life by greed. His form a swirling vortex of shadows and souls, roaring demands for eternal company. None escape purgatory's depths, it bellowed, summoning attacks that felled 2 teenagers, their cries echoing as strength ebbed. Geoffrey charged, rosary whipping like a lash, beads striking ethereal flesh with sparks of light. Bishop Olden thrust his ornate cross forward, chanting exorcisms rooted in church doctrine, holy water arcing in blessed sprays. Shadows clawed back, rending cloaks and drawing blood. Sister Clara fell, drained but defiant, her herbs ignited in a blaze that seared the entity. Geoffrey, in a desperate surge, plunged into the vortex's heart, wrapping his rosary around the ghostly core while the group formed a prayer circle, their voices uniting in fervent pleas. The chamber quaked, rocks tumbling as if the earth rebelled. With a deafening wail, the spirit fractured, haunted souls dissolving into wisps, their cries fading to grateful sighs, released at last to peace.
Grip that surge of adrenaline fading now, the raw triumph as bonds of fear shatter into relief. The survivors clambered out, carrying their wounded under a clearing sky.
Bishop Alden sealed the cave with blessed stones, the abbey chronicling the event as a testament to faith's power. Geoffrey returned home, embracing his family, the moor's winds now carrying whispers of serenity. In quiet evenings, villagers spoke of the legend, a reminder that even in the darkest depths, resilience and unity could banish the unrest, restoring calm to souls above and below.